Oh, my name is Yadi Young, and but most people just call me Yadi. My husband, his name is Gerald Orrin Young, and the reason I'm living on the Guimas Island is because we moved to Guimas Island in 1980. The reason he chose Guimas Island was because when he was in the Air Force at a station in McConnell Air Force Base in in Kansas, he met somebody from Guimas Island that had some beautiful pictures about the island, and he loved the island so much that Jerry decided to call a realtor and see if there was land available, and he bought the farm where I still live today. Um, Gerald was in the military service for 30 years. He started in the Navy. He enlisted in the Navy out of high school and served in the Navy for 4 years. And after he finished his tour with the Navy, he used the GI Bill to learn to fly because he wanted to be a commercial pilot. And that brought him around to learn how to be a commercial pilot around the Seattle area. So there is a connection for him in this area to be associated with this area. After he finished his pilot license, he saw an advertisement the Air Force wanted pilots. And so he joined the Air Force and went through the training to become a pilot for the Air Force. And he was assigned to be a helicopter pilot. And he started serving in the Air Force as a helicopter pilot, and was assigned to a squadron that was a rescue squadron in Vietnam. When he went to Vietnam, that was in the 1960s, 1967, and he flew out of Da Nang, and he flew many missions, recovering lots of the people from the different services who were injured in their work. He flew very difficult missions because flying a helicopter in terrain that is very mountainous, and you need some very special skills. Plus, they also had an enemy that was very skilled in hiding and inflicting damage on the Air Force or the Army or anybody. Jerry was assigned to a helicopter rescue squadron, which was called the Jolly Green Giants, because they flew a very large helicopter, a huge helicopter. And so whenever they saw those big helicopters coming, the people who were being rescued called them the Jolly Greens, and the squadron was called the Jolly Green. He had many missions in the time he was there, rescuing people from the different services. Mostly it was in the area of where the Ho Chi Minh Trail was, which was a place where the Viet Cong used a trail, and the the people that were, they disguised themselves as farmers with things that they were taking, like farming equipment, but there were also some tunnels that they used to go between Vietnam and Laos. And so the, uh, the mission that he was involved required a lot of skill in flying. He received several distinguished flying crossers and many awards, but he received the Medal of Honor in 1968 at the Pentagon, during a ceremony, the only ceremony that has taken place at the Pentagon. And he received the medal from Lyndon Johnson. He was the very first rescue helicopter pilot to receive the Medal of Honor.
Wow.
Through the years, he had received many honors. He was received many special visits or to other like parades and everything,
Ceremonies.
and celebrations. And he, in 1968, the city of Anacortes dedicated the whole day for, it was called Gerald Young Day. And on that day, they had a wonderful parade downtown, and people from different parts of military units from around the area came and marched, as well as the high school band and the marching band. And there was a celebration at Causland Park where they dedicated the day to the Anacortes. He also received the key to the city, and that's in one of our mementos at home. And
And what year was that?
it was in 1968. On that day also, the city of Anacortes named a park on Guimes Island after Gerald. It's called Gerald Young Park. It was a parcel of land that had been donated to the city of Anacortes by a family who wanted those 11 acres to be kept as a park. And it is located in the north part of the island. He was very, very honored for this park, for this celebration, this day. And it was very important to him that the people of Anacortes took the time to do this parade and to dedicate this park to him. And it was very nice that our daughter and I could go visit this park while she was growing up. This park was later turned over to Skagit County to manage as a park, Gerald Young Park. After Jerry bought the farm on Guimes Island, his parents for a while lived on Guimes Island. The father
On the farm.
On the farm. The father had retired, and his mother Ruth was a housewife, and they lived here for a while until his father died. In the meantime, Jerry continued in the Air Force, and many people used the farm to live. It became a rental, and many people lived in there until 1980, when Jerry retired and we moved to live on Guimas Island. Jerry was born in Chicago, Illinois. His father, Orrin, was a trolley driver in the trolleys in
A conductor?
a conductor, and then after a while they moved to Colorado, Colorado Springs, Colorado, where he went to school and graduated from the high school. And after
High school.
he joined the Navy and did his 4 years in the Navy, and then used his GI Bill to learn to fly, and later joined the Air Force and became a helicopter pilot, and that's what brought him to Vietnam. In the later life, he was in many Air Force bases, and he was very instrumental in developing rescue helicopter programs
Protocol.
in different cities, including one in Spokane and Washington. And then he was called to start a rescue program in Panama, Central America. And before that, he was in Texas many times, and in New Orleans, many Air Force bases.
He earned many awards, and honors, and also, isn't there a building named after him?
Yes.
Can you explain that?
He was very proud of his Medal of Honor, and of course he always said that he was a medal, or he represented all the people that served in his squadron and in that area. It wasn't that he was just a representative. He held it for others. He has received many honors. One of them recent, in 2019, the helicopter squadron, the helicopter facility at Andrews Air Force Base, the whole building was named after him. It's called the Gerald O. Young Helicopter Operation Facility, and it is a very big helicopter hangar or building, where a lot of training goes on, and the first helicopter squadron is located there.
Was there a ceremony?
And there was a very nice ceremony where my daughter Melody and I and some members of my family came for the ceremony. And the whole lobby of the building is very beautiful display that contains a map of Vietnam. It has a window that tells the story of Jerry, of his whole life.
Oh, wow.
And it's very interesting because even some people from Guimas have gone to visit this helicopter facility. Alan Bush's wife, Kelly, was training, doing some training at Andrews Air Force Base, and so she actually went and visited the building and the lobby that has, even it has statue of Jerry that was made by the Smithsonian Institute, and I supplied them with an old fly suit that he had here that I rescued from a time when he was actually feeding the cows, wearing this flight uniform, and I saved it, and they the for preparation for this um, building. A colonel from Andrews Air Force Base came to Guimas, and I took him around and showed him the park, and he interviewed many people who knew Jerry at the time that Jerry was alive.
Oh, wow.
And so he 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 got this nice man was able to come to here to the church and have dinner with the people from it was a lunch time, and then he visited the houses of these people. Some of those people that that remember the Jerry, not the pilot but the farmer. He wanted to do something different, and so he asked Al Bush from Guimas Island, to teach him to be a farmer.
Oh.
And Al Bush came to our farm with his really big Angus prized bull, and visited the cows that Jerry had bought, and very soon we had lots of little
Angus's?
Angus's, a mixture of Angus's. I got a great respect for people who are farmers, because it is a lot of work. After Andrews Air Force Base, Jerry decided to go to school at the University of Maryland, and get a degree in international studies. And after that, we were assigned to go. He was assigned to go as an Air Force attaché at the embassy of Colombia, the American embassy in Colombia, in Bogota, Colombia, and we went there for 3 years.
Oh, how fun.
And after the time that in 1979, then we came back to the United States, and he retired out of Sumter Air Force Base. And after he retired, we moved back to the United States, and he wanted to come to his island that he loved very much, and he was always talking about his island, the Guimas Island. And so in 1980, we moved to Guimas Island, and they happened to need a language teacher at Anacortes High School, so I got the job at Anacortes High School, and he decided to learn to be a farmer. And after a few years here, unfortunately, he was diagnosed with glioblastoma multiforme, which is a kind of brain cancer that is not curable yet, and he died in 1990, and it was also a very special day, the day of his funeral here on Guimas Island at the church. It was a military funeral with, and I was very, very pleased that a lot of people from the island and from town and from Seattle came to the funeral, and there was a flyover, a huge helicopter that came from a National Guard in Oregon. They flew, and they flew over Guimas Island at a certain time. I appreciated coordination that the funeral, Evans funeral people did with the Air Force so that this flyover could happen. And then we had a wonderful military ceremony here on Guimas. And later on, a month later, he was buried at Arlington Cemetery, again with military honors, and about 25 Medal of Honor recipients who happened to be in Washington, D.C. at that time also came to the funeral. It was a very amazing and it was a great honor, and I still remember how the Air Force and the military have not forgotten us. They take care of us, they include us in the celebrations. In Anacortes, there is a chapter of the VFW, a new chapter that has been named after him. It's the VFW chapter, and it's called Young McCool chapter, and it has a lot of veterans from many different wars. They seem younger to me. Many of them are from the Desert Storm and a lot of those, and also the American Legion. Also, they invite me a lot to speak on Veterans Day, and
nice.
And I always have something to say, except for this last year that I wasn't, I had COVID, I think. COVID.
Yeah.
So here we are, and I have great respect for veterans, and
And they have great respect for you.
and I appreciate that they always remember Jerry through me. I realize that it's not me, that it's him that they are honoring, but they have not forgotten my daughter and I. And any time that we go someplace like a military base or something, somehow they always find out, and they treat us very, very special.
They respect you.
Yeah.